What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down some of the best quarterback gym exercises that you can do. Let's get started. Now, before we get into this video, fellas, if you are a quarterback and would like to improve your football IQ, you want to learn how you can read defenses, the best plays to work against each specific coverage, the weaknesses of each coverage, check out that very first link in the description below where you can get access to 500 plus videos that I myself made where I break down how you can read defenses and what to look for in defensive coverages. There's, again, like I said, 500, probably 3 to 5 minute clips. It's like the Netflix for quarterbacks, fellas. So if you guys want to improve your football IQ, get better at reading defenses, so you get the leg up on your opponent and competition, check out that very first link in the description below. Let's get back to this video. All right, guys, so all of the exercises that we're going to be going over in this video are great for people who have limited equipment. This is a garage gym that I use. I have, a squat rack, I have a barbell, I have plates, I have dumbbells, pretty much everything that you need, but it's limited equipment. I don't have all the machines, I don't have the fancy platforms. Very, very simple stuff, but these exercises are going to maximize your performance as a quarterback. So quarterbacks, we got to lift differently than everybody else because we're throwers, right? We're very, very similar to like pitchers in baseball. We're not trying to get this bulked up upper body, huge shoulders, huge chest, where we have no range of motion. That's why I hate doing overhead press for quarterbacks, and that's why I hate doing bench press for quarterbacks. Heavy overhead press, let's put it that way, because you don't want to lose range of motion with your upper body. You want to stay mobile, but you also want to be able to generate explosion from your hips, from your core, and from your legs, and that's what we're going to be focusing on today. Now, all these exercises are going to tie somewhat into your throwing sequence. So I'm going to go over what the throwing sequence is. That's kind of the basic mechanical foundation for a quarterback. Then all the exercises we're going to give you will tie in throughout this video. So when you guys go to throw, the most important thing to start out with your throw is going to be your base. So you have to be able to get into a correct base. That's the first part of the throwing sequence. The throwing sequence is 4 parts. You have base, you have front stride, you have hip rotation, and then you have the shoulders in the ball, in that order. So a quarterback should be thinking from the ground up. So a lot of young quarterbacks simply lack strength in their base to set themselves up to have the right throwing sequence. And that's what this first exercise is going to cover. So by being in a correct base, what I mean is that when you guys get set to throw, you should not be crazy wide with your feet and you should not have your knees caved in. So many quarterbacks, especially young quarterbacks, they do not have the strength in their glutes, their legs to be able to sit back, have their shin be straight, have their leg be under the frame, knees not over their toes like this, and just sit back here. The reason why we want to get back to this position is because that's going to allow us to take this weight and actually rotate through with my hips. Quarterbacks who stand like this and have this knee caved position, when they go take a step with their throw, their back foot gets outside their frame because when your knee is caved, your weight is shifted forward, so they don't get this back hip involved with the throw, and they're throwing all upper body. But if you guys have this back foot under your frame, shin is straight, you actually can rotate through fully with your hips, which will give us more velocity on the ball and more consistency on the ball. Now, another reason you want to have your weight back like this and have your shin straight is because when your weight is back, you can actually rotate your shoulders, which, remember, is the 4th part of the throwing sequence. You have your weight back, you take a step with the front foot. If your weight is shifted forward, you can't rotate your shoulders back. Your weight's already coming forward. You got to stay back so we can rotate. The hips come through, and that creates that whip of the throw. But it all starts with having your weight back. So this first exercise is going to help you with that. So all you're doing, you need a bench. You could use a dumbbell. You could do this with a barbell on your back if you feel you're more advanced, or a weighted plate, maybe a kettlebell, whatever it is. And it's going to be a single leg squat, so a pistol squat. So you're going to be here, 1 foot, focus on keeping that shin completely straight, knee is not caving in, and all you're going to be doing, 1 foot off the ground, you're just going to be squatting to the bench and then popping up. You got to do this on both legs, but on your throwing side leg, that is the most important. So like I said, you want to hold a dumbbell, you want to be here, squat down, don't let the knee cave, knee straight the entire time. That is what you want to be focusing on. I recommend probably doing about 8 to 10 reps of that on each leg, maybe 4 or 5 sets, just to build strength in that position with your back leg. I want to be strong enough to where I take a drop and I'm able to get back to this spot comfortably because I've done the work to strengthen that back leg. All right, guys, so the next exercise we're going to be going over is another lower body exercise for quarterbacks to be able to get themselves in the right mechanical position, but also to accelerate or exemplify that all-out effort that you need to get more velocity on your throw. So when you guys go to throw, that's a very fast twitch exercise, right? So a lot of people, especially football players, the exercise that we should be emphasizing are fast twitch explosive exercise, because that's what we do. So everybody, every single athlete has two kinds of muscle fibers in their body. You got fast twitch muscle fibers, and then you have slow twitch muscle fibers. So slow twitch fibers are something that, like, maybe a basketball, maybe not basketball, but maybe like a soccer player, right? Like a soccer player, you're constantly jogging, you're constantly moving. It's a very slower paced game. Football, we got like a 5-10 second play. We were trying to be as explosive as possible, so we have more fast twitch fibers naturally, because that's the game that we play. So that's what you should be trying to train as a football player generally. Now, quarterbacks, when you're trying to throw with velocity, that's an all-out effort movement, right? Let's say you're throwing a quick slant. You take one step where you're trying to shoot through and have as much twitch with my throwing mechanics as possible, is that's how I get velocity, generating torque, and having that throwing sequence. I want that throwing sequence to have some torque to it and some fast twitch to it. So this exercise is going to create that explosion from those legs, that explosion, that fast twitch that we need, and also work on that back leg position of that shin being straight and your weight being able to sit back. So this is going to be called an explosive step up. So all you're going to be doing, you're going to stand on a bench. You got to work this on both legs. You're going to have one foot on the bench like so. Focus on this shin being straight the entire time. You're going to hold 2 dumbbells, and all you're going to do is you're going to explode up and snatch the knee up. Then come right back down. Don't let the knee cave at any point during this. Shin stays straight, almost press your knee outward. Then you're going to explode up again. Now, when you explode up, you're trying to explode up with as much energy as you can, exerting that all-out effort to increase that fast twitch muscle fiber. So I recommend maybe doing anywhere from 8 to 12 reps on each leg of that. It's a great exercise to strengthen that back leg, to help us get to a mechanically sound position, but also for that fast twitch explosion every quarterback needs. All right, guys, so this next exercise that we're going to be going over is going to go over the next part of the throwing sequence, which is the rotation from the hips and the rotation from the core, aka rotational force, right? We're also going to be giving you guys some upper body exercises that you can do towards the end of this video, because I am talking a lot about the hips, the legs, the core, obviously fast twitch fibers, but you need to have a good upper body routine that's not bench press, heavy overhead press, curls as a quarterback. What's going to help you with performance? But we're going to get to that later in this clip. So this next exercise, next part of the throwing sequence, like we said, you have to be in a good base. Your weight's got to be back, so your shoulders can rotate back when your front foot gets down in the throw, and those hips come through before my upper body. Now that core rotating through, that hip rotating through, we obviously need to have some strength there, and we need to be able to rotate. Now, another thing, the other reason why having a strong core is important for a quarterback is for posture, because so many quarterbacks lack strength in their core and their lower back as well, and they'll be standing like this, like kind of hunched over. So when they go to throw, that almost prevents their rotation because they have bad posture. So this is a great exercise to help with that strength of your core and obviously that rotational force. So they call this a Russian twist. You could do this with a plate like I'm going to do. You could do it with a kettlebell. Honestly, anything that has weight. I like doing it with a medicine ball because maybe you can slam it on each side of you, but you're pretty much going to be on a bench. I do this with a weighted plate. This is a 25. All you're going to do is you're going to have your feet out. Butt is the only thing touching the bench, and we're just going to rotate. Rotate here, rotating back and forth. You go a little bit faster pace than that, but I want you to make sure that you are controlling the weight. We're not just going crazy fast. Control the weight, feel it in your core. I recommend maybe doing like 20 to 30 reps of that exercise. If you don't want to do it with weight, you can do it body weight. You just move your hands. It's a great exercise to help quarterbacks with that rotational force and obviously with their posture in the pocket. All right, guys, now we're going to be talking about some great upper body exercises that quarterbacks can do. So when it comes to training your upper body, like we mentioned earlier in this video, quarterbacks should not be doing heavy bench press, flat bench press at least. If you're going to do bench, and let's say you have to do bench, and that's maybe something that your quarterback coach, or not quarterback coach, but your strength coach at school is requiring you to do. Try to do incline bench and try to do just dumbbell. Please do not lift with your ego. Do not be that guy that injures your shoulder because you were coming to this position completely flat. That's not good for your shoulder. And getting a big developed chest is only going to restrict your range of motion, fellas. The nice part I have is being a quarterback coach, especially us doing our camps that we've done this year, going to a lot of different states. You see a ton of different body types, right? So you see a lot of quarterbacks, that are in like the Midwest area, maybe Ohio, central US. They're a little bit bigger than the guys who are located on the West Coast, right? No shade at the guys on the West Coast. Those guys are just They're built different out there, trust me. So those guys usually have, bigger upper bodies. They have broad shoulders. They're coming in, like they're very, very wide. So when they get the ball and they go to throw, it's noticeable that they have this very tough time being able to rotate, get that separation with their upper half, that dissociation, that extension, because they lack mobility in the upper half. Guys, you have to train for mobility with your upper half. Now listen, I understand, trust me, I was a skinny dude. I was a very, very skinny guy playing, freshman, sophomore ball, and I had to put on weight. So I did a lot of those exercises like bench, curls, overhead press, all those things. I'm gonna tell you this right now. I needed it because I needed to get bigger, 100%. But that did not help me performance-wise. You need to be also doing things that are going to help you performance-wise. So me curling a bunch of weight and bench pressing another weight did not help me throw the ball a single yard further. What helped me throw the ball further was my legs, my hips, my core, my mobility in the upper half, flexibility, shoulder mobility, and obviously having better throwing mechanics. That's the stuff that helps you on the actual field. So I get it if you got to put on size, but if you're in a unique position where you don't have to, I don't recommend doing those exercises. I recommend doing exercises like we're about to talk about right now. So this is a great shoulder mobility exercise, but also developing strength, functional strength, if you will. So this exercise is called I-Wise T's and W's. You can do this with 2-pound plates. These are 2.5 pounds. Anywhere from 2.5 to 5 is what I recommend. Or you can do this with a very, very light dumbbell. So you're literally going to map out that pattern with these 2 plates. You're going to go the letter I up and down, then you're going to go Y, then you're going to go T, where you go wide, and then you're going to go W, where you pull your shoulder blades together. So I, Y, T, and W. Getting full range of motion. That last little bit right there was a little rush. That's obviously how I don't want you to do that. Do it like the first couple examples where we're getting full range of motion. Lightweight. We have functional strength. So I have more mobility and I have functional strength, like I said, as I go back with my throwing motion. So fellas, exercises like this, doing banded exercise like banded push-ups, banded shoulder press, banded, whatever you can do with the resistance band, pull-aparts, that is going to help you with mobility, and that will actually translate to on-field play. But upper body-wise, fellas, you have to be very, very careful because we have to preserve the arm, we got to have mobility, and you have to be more consistent. All right, guys, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. We always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you're a quarterback and you want to get better at reading defenses, you want 500 plus videos all based on how to read coverages, how to diagnose defenses, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to get you on that. I'll see you guys next time.